What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Roots of Success podcast. I am your host, Nate the Great, coming at you. And today, we have a special guest, no other than the man, Jonathan George himself. How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. It's good to see you.
Likewise, man. I appreciate you opening up your home. Beautiful, beautiful space, of course. And man, I'm excited that we get a chance to do the show together, brother.
Yeah. I love it. I love that a millennial is doing something great and actually impacting people's lives. I love it.
Oh my goodness. We live in a world nowadays where it's like you look on news and I feel like there's so much negativity.
100%, yeah.
And I feel as if there's not enough positivity out there. And of course, me having the honor to interview somebody like yourself, as well as just the other influencers out there in this world, it's incredible because I personally learn a lot just as a person, doing the interviews. But real quick, before we kind of get into it, I want to give the audience and the listeners a little bit of the behind the scenes on what you're about. So Jonathan George is called the Human Hitmaker because of his ability to see people's untapped potential, his methods to pull that potential to the surface, and his ability to cultivate it into greatness. I like that word. As CEO of JG Entertainment, he has been developing, branding, and launching RockStars in the entertainment world for over 20 years, as well as creating Rockstar brands for influencers and entrepreneurs. Now, he empowers our future leaders and entrepreneurs from all over the world to transform from ordinary to rockstar status. His deep passion to help people step into their greatness comes from his own dark struggles of self-discovery and confidence.
Yeah. I think we've all experienced that one, yeah.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
Right?
So I'm curious, Jonathan, kind of, walk us through a little bit, how you grew up. Because, man, when you told me your age before we started this show, I just couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And even just reading this, whenever it says for over 20 years, I'm thinking over 20, I'm 23, brother. You feel me? So even thinking about that, I was shocked. But, kind of give us a little bit more background info from where you started and how you got to where you're at today.
Well, for me, I moved out to Los Angeles in 2000. And so it's really incredible that I came out here for the music side. I was going to be a singer. That was I've been singing my entire life in church, and I was going to come out here and be a singer. And I ended up on Ed McMahon's Next Big Star. Now, you don't even know who Ed McMahon is, probably.
A little
you
research,
do?
Just a little bit.
So Ed McMahon is like, he was the guy. And so his show, Next Big Star, came out before American Idol. And I was the grand champion winner on that show.
Holy cow.
And I had a record deal on the table. Full management, everything was like happening finally in my life. I mean, I feel like I was living like the pinnacle of my dreams. It was all unfolding. It was like all this hard work. I was 26, 27, somewhere around there. And that's when Google first came out. So, this was like 2001, so Google was just starting to really hit. They Googled my name. They found out that I was gay and literally shredded the contract. It was done. My management tried to get me married. Changed my music, literally everything about me.
Holy cow.
And I was like, I was playing into this and I was like, how's this going to work? And I just was like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be me, 100% me, authentically. And it brought me straight back. As a kid, I was relentlessly bullied. I know people look, they look at me and they're like, no, you got your life together, man. You seem confident. But the bullying was horrible. I can remember days of, and on top of that, my dad's a pastor, a Pentecostal pastor. And I have an incredible family, so appreciative of my upbringing. But there was so much spiritual abuse that took place, saying you can't go to heaven, you can't fulfill your destiny, you can't fulfill your purpose. And oh man, it makes me want to cry thinking about the depth of what that does to people. Yeah. And so, there were times of, such dark feelings. You're never good enough. Ever. That's what you always hear is you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. And always trying to prove yourself as worthy. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, there were days of dark depression. There were days of thoughts of suicide. You know, I never went through, never tried to do anything, but I mean, there were thoughts of it's like it'd be so much easier just to end my life. You know, I mean, it was so painful, and and I have a loving family, so none of it was done to manipulate or to control me, but truly how they believe. You know, and so you know, I don't have any anger or anything that towards my family. I mean, I have an incredible family, but they were doing what they thought was right. But it about destroyed me. So when all this was happening and they're trying to get me married, I was just like, you know what? I was like, I'm tired of not being good enough. I'm not kidding. That time I vowed, I was like, you know what? I'm going to become the kind of coach that I so badly need in my own life.
Wow.
I needed someone to help me rock who I already was inside rather than trying to change me and make me different than who I already was. And so I literally started developing talent. You know, I have a music education degree. And so I started teaching voice to survive, to like make it in the industry, you know what I mean? Like to make a living. And I was making great money just teaching voice lessons. But everybody was like, what's next? What's next? And so, you know, I had all of these kids starting at 10. You start, you know, so my first big artist was Kelsey Page, and she was on the show America's Most Talented Kids.
Oh, wow.
And she was a finalist on that show.
Yeah.
And that was when MySpace came out. So I built her up on MySpace, built her entire brand. This was my first like artist to like really package fully. And I literally, she was number one on MySpace forever. And she was 13 years old. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, we didn't even realize what we had at that time because, you know, we didn't, it was like, hey, she's number one. You know, she's got millions of viewers. And I was so new to everything that I didn't understand what we had and how we could have capitalized on it. So, you know, that's the learning curve. I mean, I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
Just I didn't know anything about the industry. I just knew music. But I didn't know how it worked. I didn't understand, and nobody knew really how social media worked. You know, we didn't know like what. I mean, she had millions of subscribers, and she was like number one on the country markets at 13 years old for like 3 years or something like that.
3 years.
Yeah, I mean, she couldn't be taken down because she you know when you hit that wave going up, you kind of stay up there.
Yeah.
You know,
especially at that point in time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And so anyway, so I started developing artists, and so now I've literally spent 20 years. I mean, even back before I ever moved to LA. I mean, I was coaching, and you know, one of my girls started when she was 6. Her picture's up there. Melise Zhao, you know, now she's killing it. She's in every TV show. She was Teen Wolf, and I just was watching a movie, and there she was. I was like, she's the lead girl. I was like, what is going on? I was like, this is amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to hit her up, but so I mean, I've been working with talent, building them up, and so I've been creating, in essence, really a branding expert.
For real.
Right? But I always said, like, really, my talent wasn't necessarily always the most talented. They were just the most confident. Because that was what I was great at, is realizing and seeing what was inside of somebody, seeing what's inside of you and pulling that out and then branding that to make it shine into greatness, right? And so, and that's, I 3 years ago, I went to Bali on a mastermind retreat. I was so drained, dude. When I tell you, I give like so much of myself to my clients and to the artists and, you know, even top influencers and entrepreneurs, and working with all these different people to build a great brand. I was so drained, and I hadn't done anything for myself. So I went to Bali on a mastermind retreat and had like this rebirthing experience. It was unbelievable what I experienced. And I came home. I let go of my assistant, who I love. She'd been with me for 8 years, so loyal and incredible. I let go of all my clients. I had we had a program that I'd helped build for 12 years, and we had 5 franchises. I gave it to my partner just walked away from it all. It was just like, and people are like, you gave it? I was like, when you know something is right,
Yeah.
nothing mattered to me. Nothing. I was like, I'll figure this out. I was like, I literally let go of everything. I mean, clients just really brokenhearted, upset at me. But I was like, I've got to do me, just like you're doing you. I got to do me.
Right.
And I just like, so I started writing my book, which comes out January, end of January. It's called Unleash Your Rockstar, which is my whole movement is that I've created is Unleash Your Rockstar, because every single one of us has this rock star inside of us that just needs to be brought to the surface. You know, they just need the permission and the tools to be a freaking rock star. And
That's deep.
so yeah, so that's where I am right now, man. Just had this whole life transformation, and now I'm speaking. Like, that's all I'm doing now, and coaching, and it's incredible.
That's deep, Jonathan. Just your story and everything, because you're a prime example of somebody that could easily. I've said I'm not gonna do this. Like you said, I mean, just having those kind of thoughts that go through your head, because at that point in time, it was like, and you mentioned if you saying, "Hey, I'm gay," people would literally just slander you.
Yeah. Oh, at 2000, man, it was like the term being in the closet really meant something. You know what I mean? It's like, and for me, it's really crazy to start. This year, this transformation that's happened in my life, as well as learning to tell my story, because I don't want to be the gay guy. I just want to be the guy. All my life was about being the gay guy, being teased, being bullied, or the church, or the music career, always hiding it. And so, but now it's like, you know what? It didn't matter. My story was about being gay. That was the reason why, like, literally, I can remember sitting in my uncle's office at his church when I was 21 years old. I moved to Oklahoma to be in his church, and he pulled me into his office one Sunday. He said, I don't like you. And it was the first thing, of course, I was like, have you met me? I was like, what is there not to like? I was like, like, nice guy. What's going on? But seriously, that was like when everything, I think, just the fear set in of judgment, the fear of self-judgment. And then, I became a workaholic to build all of these accolades to show my self-worth and my proof. And I literally was running from really what my true calling was, is to help people on a massive level. But I literally was running from all of that because I was too scared I was going to be judged. I was too scared of all these things. And it was always about, for me, it was the gay thing. For you, it would be something else. It's, we all have that something that, and the reality is, we all want to be seen. Right. We all want to be heard. Yeah. And we all want to feel like we have a purpose and that we matter. And if that's stripped from you, dude, it is a downhill spiral. And so I have literally fought my mindset to becoming a very confident person, and truly being comfortable in my skin, loving myself, and that's all I want for people, is to walk 100% in unshakable confidence in themselves. Because I'm just say it to the viewers, is that if you're not walking in your full greatness, you're not only doing yourself a disservice, but you're also robbing every single one of us of our blessing in our life. The things that I've got chills thinking about, how important you are, every single person is in this life. Because if you're not really doing what you're supposed to be doing, then it's imbalanced. But could you imagine the vibration of this planet if we were all walking in our full purpose with confidence and walking in our greatness? It would be unreal. Yeah. And this is the reason why, like, this has been my mission. It's like, millennials and Gen Z are my heart and soul. I've always worked with youth, and that age group is all now. It's good grief, they're all in their 30s. Kids that I've been working with forever. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm a millennial still at heart.
You still look like it, I'll tell
you. So my heart and soul is from millennials, and everybody says the negative things about millennials, but I think you guys have the most amazing potential to really shift and change this planet on so many massive levels. And so it's like I'm dedicating myself 100% to bringing up the future leaders, these future entrepreneurs that are going to shift and change. People like you who are got your own podcast that you're stepping out and saying, "Hey, I've got a voice. It matters, and I want to step out." And you're like I want to help people my age. I want to help people shift people's mindsets and change them.
Straight up.
And here's the thing: is that I truly believe mind, body, your mindset, your body, your health, your soul, your spirit, your spiritual connection to the greater power, and finances. Those four things have to be, if they're not all together, you're off balance, right? I mean, if your finances are off balance, you used to just be mind, body, and soul. Yeah. But I'm like, dude, no, if your finances are off, your physical, your mindset, everything's going to be thrown off.
That's so true.
You know what I mean? It causes so much anxiety and stress. And we were talking before the show is that your age group is 40% of an unemployment is millennials. And that causes so much anxiety and stress and all of the other things that come with that. So, you know, you think about it, it's like, so my whole thing is, my movement is Unleash Your Rockstar, and it's mind, body, soul, and finances.
That's powerful, especially the finances part, because it's so true. Like, you know, I'm reading this one book right now called The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Really great read. And one of the chapters is on the habit of saving.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, it's rare that anybody saves anymore.
Well, it's hard to save because what you're making. I mean, you think about it, the house income hasn't really changed since like in the 70s. You know? Who can live off of $15 an hour? I don't know what it is everywhere else, but in California, it's $15 an hour.
Is that minimum wage?
Minimum wage. Man. But you would have to work like 100 hours to be able to, I mean, a one-bedroom apartment here is 14 at the low end.
Yeah, that's insane.
You know?
I paid 25 for a one-bedroom in Marina.
Yeah.
I mean, holy
Well, you're living in a good area, though. Marina Del Rey, come on. You know, that's like prime property. You're still rotten.
It could be in Hollywood, though, brother.
Yeah, right. No, you know, so it's one of those things that it's really rough for this age group because there's so much going on. But it's also so exciting if you really shift your mindset about the opportunities.
It's true. I mean, there's more opportunities now more than ever. I mean,
you can create whatever you want to create.
Yeah, and that's the powerful part about it. So let me ask you, Jonathan, because getting people to unleash their inner rock star, like from you, like it's hard. It's hard for that to happen.
Right.
Because even myself, like, bro, it took me years. I'd say, honestly, earlier this year was whenever I realized the power of my voice. And why was that? It was because people kept like complimenting me like every single day.
Right.
Because I traveled a lot these past 3 years, like throughout the US to Canada to Europe and all that, China. I'm blessed for that. And I literally kept getting compliments every single day, especially out here. Like, Nate, you have a very distinct voice. You kind of got like a brother-like voice. Right. That's the way that you talk, you know?
You're white chocolate.
Yeah. I'm white chocolate. Like, I kid you not, bro. I literally met somebody once, and I tell people this story, and they get a kick out of it. And, you know, I knew what the guy looked like. He must not have realized what I looked like. And I walk up to him, and I'm like, hey, how you doing, man? And he's like, who are you? And I'm like, I'm Nate, man. We're supposed to meet. He's like, oh, you Nate the Great? I was like, yeah. He's like, I thought you were black, brother. I'm like, nah, man, I'm white, you know? So it's crazy, bro. But, you know, I realized what my potential was. Hence is why I transitioned the podcast to doing it just strictly celebrities and influencers.
Right.
And, of course, now I have people that hit me up like, hey, can I be on your show? Can I be on your show? And no disrespect, but now I'm on a different level compared to what I was a year ago.
Yeah, well, and that comes with your confidence because you might not have asked, you know, certain people to be on your show because you didn't feel like you were good enough, right?
Indeed, yeah. But
to answer your question, I think what you're asking is how do you build that confidence, right? This does not need to be a long, drawn-out situation. And it's very simple. I have a method, and it's been proven every single day. And the key is to understanding what you're really great at. And people think that's a hard skill. That's like, oh, I'm a computer programmer. I'm a gamer. I am, I'm really great at numbers. No, that is not what your superpower is.
Mm.
Your superpower is who you innately are.
I like that. Yeah.
But like really, truly, who you are at your core. So like when I moved to Los Angeles, I didn't know the music business. I had zero connections.
Mm.
But what I knew is who I was.
Yeah.
And I knew my personality. I'm a people person. I'm an extrovert. I'm a connector. And so I use my gifts and my strengths to go after the things that I need to go after. Even when I didn't know what I was doing, I had no clue. I used my personality first to help me get where I needed to go. So if you can discover what your superpower is, and I have a free gift for your people to help them tap into this. We can tell you, you can let them know however you want to do that. But
okay.
To tap into your superpower and to rethink about really what your talents and your gifts are. Because it doesn't matter if you are a great podcast host. That's a skill set that you're learning. Right? You're learning the tools, you're learning what mics to get, what cameras, what lights, what programs to use, and you're making connections, right? But using your personality and your God-given strengths that you were truly just born with. And a lot of times our genius, we have no clue what it is because it's come so easy to us. And so what I do is I help people tap into what that is. And they're like, that's my superpower? Like, dude, I never thought about that being my superpower. No, you didn't think about it because it's so easy to you. But when you can start realizing what that superpower is, I mean, that's the reason why we love superhero movies. I mean,
it's true.
A superpower, it's somebody with a super, like that has this ability, super strength, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's always pushed by something else. It's pushed by their love of people. It's pushed by like a superpower can be usually their personal strengths, core strengths. These are things that you just have in you. And whether it's great personality, whether it's charm, whether it is loyalty, because there's people in my life that have been in my life not because they were more knowledgeable or more talented, it's because they were so loyal to me that I am loyal back to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so like somebody who like can weigh a scale out and say what's right and what's wrong, right? I mean, they just see it, they know it. Somebody who is spiritually inclined and gifted and they can see things. You have to use your superpower in order to do that. The second thing is understanding your flaws.
Wow, that's true.
And still be flossing in the meantime of while you're working on kind of either correcting those flaws. Sometimes our flaws can never be corrected.
Right.
But they're going to be struggles that we always have. But owning it, claiming it. You look at Demi Lovato. Demi Lovato, she will claim her flaws like that, and it takes the what it does for her is it keeps her in control. Yeah. It makes her confident in her choices, even though she's struggling. She's like, I own it. Yeah. And she's being flawsome in the process. She's having flaws and still being awesome. Tyra Banks said it best: have flaws and still be awesome, be flawsome. And that's the thing. And you think about how many bosses people have that are such just total assholes. Yeah, literally. And it's based off of their own insecurities. And so they try to monopolize everything, control, micromanage when they don't have a clue what they're doing. Rather, if they just said, hey, I don't understand this part of it. Nate, you're incredible at this. I need you to take charge of it and just follow back with me. What does that do? That made him vulnerable. Yeah. What do we love about superheroes? They're vulnerable. They all are vulnerable. And whether that is, they were always beaten up, or somebody was murdered for them, or, you think about Superman, kryptonite.
Yeah.
We all have a kryptonite. There's vulnerable parts to us. And so, and there's a couple layers about having flaws, because I truly believe that you need to work on your flaws, strengthen them. But, it's like I have singers who, they struggle in certain areas.
Yeah.
So what we do is we focus on what their strength is. We build that strength up, and we showcase that at all times while we're working on the flaws. We're working on the weaker parts. That weaker part could possibly always be there.
Yeah.
But, we're gonna concentrate on the great parts, because that's what we're all focusing on. Because if you can show what you're greatest at and what you're to the world, it builds confidence immediately. And when you know what your flaws are, just think about it. Think about the things that you're weak about. Say, so I'm not going to take my shirt off because I have a belly, or I don't have a chest.
Yeah.
Well, if you just claim it and you own it, it is what it is.
It's true.
I always think I have a girlfriend she's a bigger girl, and most people would be like, no, she walks in and owns the room. And she gets any guy she wants.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because she's confident. Confidence is sexy, right? And that's what we're drawn to. So if you can just know who you are, how to show up in the world, that can help build the confidence like that. And then the third thing is personal branding. It's authenticity, right? Because when you know who you are and where you came from and why you're doing what you're doing, it builds confidence so fast. If you can tell your story, if somebody walks up to you and say, hey, tell me about yourself, and you're just like, and you gave me 3 points about yourself that we were able to connect on a deeper level than just some kind of surface thing, it's amazing what it does. And of course I call it, it's personal branding. I never realized it was personal branding, because every artist that I worked with, we had to build their brand. For instance, one of my girls, Harper Grace, and she was just on American Idol this past season.
Okay.
And she, at age 11, sang the national anthem. And if you look up the world's worst national anthem, it's going to be Harper Gruzins, because Gruzins is her last name. But the first day she started working with me, I said, you're going to create a dream board, go home and write it. Secondly, we have to own what happened. Just own it. Do not let it be like something that you're fearing that's going to be discussed.
Right.
Everybody talks about their past and they're like, oh, I don't want nobody. Screw that. Just own it.
Yeah.
I've always said, if some nudes popped up of me somewhere, I'd be like, hey, I'm proud of that. Rather than let somebody slander me, I just own it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just own things, people just go, okay. You know what I mean? Like this, it's just the way it works.
Right.
You think about, our current president, like he just owns stuff no matter what he does.
Yeah.
And you go look at his rallies, how many people support him or behind him.
That's deep.
Right or wrong, regardless of what you believe or what you don't believe, he just owns it and people just buy into it. And so if you'll just own your stuff, it's amazing what happens. And if you can tell and articulate that to the world, it creates such a huge amount of confidence. But so for Harper, she wrote on her to do her intentions wall. This is my intention wall back here, by the way. Oh, okay. I created this wall to like, have all my my love, my family, things that matter to me, where I want to live, laughter, different things. So this is my complete intention wall right here. But she created an intention, her intentions out, and it was to be on American Idol, to audition and possibly win the show. Wow. So 15 years old, 4 years later, she goes onto the show. She brings her little, if you watch the interview, or her audition, she walks in with that poster board.
Really?
Yeah. To audition for American Idol and possibly wins. What she wrote, I think she probably said to win it, but she probably like backed out of that. Was like, that's probably, but the first thing that they showed was her national anthem. That was the first thing that they showed. And had she not dealt with that would have terrified her.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it was the
Confidence?
number one watched YouTube video from that season. So the final night, she didn't make it to finals, but final night, she sang with the top three because she was the number one watched YouTube. So, so owning that kind of stuff and being able to articulate and tell that story and not be ashamed or embarrassed. Another thing is we all love stories. We are drawn to stories. I mean, if you watch, we talked about what? My story.
Right.
And that is what we all get inclined to. We want to know about people, and then we get trapped into the stories of them. And so this past season, my artist Michaela Phillips was on America's Got Talent, and she was the Golden Buzzard winner.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because she was in the semifinals, and after the show, I just said, "You're not going to go through," even though to me she was the best vocalist.
Yeah.
I just said, but they did not give you a story. They made you seem like the most boring, normal teenage girl.
Wow.
And I was like, because she was up against this good-looking, sexy doctor guy that like adopts children and works in a foster homes, whatever, like he is like, his sob story was unbelievable. Or the little Latina who her parents gave up everything for her to come to the States so she can, I mean, she was a talented girl.
Yeah.
But you can't compete against a story.
That's so true.
It didn't. Michaela, she's so beautiful. She's funny. She's charming. She is gifted beyond belief.
Yeah.
And like, she's a superstar. And I worked with a lot of clients, and to me, she's like one of the top superstars. That her potential that she has, if she keeps going with what she's doing, she could make it to wherever she wants to go.
I believe it.
Because she has zero. There's nothing that can hold her back because she's worked on all those weaknesses in her life, right? But she didn't have her story. Even though we worked on her story in the past, the producers didn't give her a story. So if you don't have a story, and if you're not tapped into that, people aren't going to ever be drawn into you the way that it needs to happen. So you're knowing your story and your personal brand and how to present yourself to the world where it draws people into you. Now, if you're going to be a kindergarten teacher, you may not want to talk about the darkest spots in your life. You know what I mean? Like you may not want to talk about all that stuff. You have to be smart about who you're speaking to and know how to articulate it. But that's the reason why there's people like me who help brand people, right? You know what I mean? I mean, my book, I'm so excited about my book because it helps break that down because it comes with a workbook. It's a short read with a workbook because it's all about action, right? Everything's about action. Yeah. So I'm really excited about this because it's going to help people on a major level to crack open and to really, truly just be confident. Because you think about it, not having confidence is what brings about anxiety. It brings about depression. It brings about, because you feel like you're never good enough. You're comparing yourself to everybody else around you, especially on social media. You're looking at, and I know it myself because, I've got my own social media and like looking at what this guy's doing, what this guy's doing. I'm comparing myself, and finally I just said, stop it. What are you doing? Yeah. I would be kicking somebody's butt for comparing themselves. Stop comparing yourself to these other people. And you got to do you, because what we're seeing is a polished version of who that person is. We're seeing a polished version of their best life. But you think about the people who usually are the top, are the ones who are vulnerable. They show the realness. They're not scared to cry on TV. They're not scared to, on their social media. And those people are the ones who usually have the biggest following. And it started with, on TV and MTV when reality TV hit in. And that's the reason why it hit so big, is because we saw the vulnerable parts of people and we wanted to watch them. We're fascinated by them.
Absolutely. It's funny, Jonathan, with you being who you are and you owning that, being a mentor and a coach to these people, I mean, holy cow, I'm just thinking, if they didn't have what you taught them, and you covered about owning up to like that national anthem that was the most viewed, and it wasn't for the best reasons, right? And you're showing these kids and the people that you work with, and you're having them own up to that and seeing what they're doing today. like that's inspiring because it goes to show like what you do. Like it doesn't just work, but like it works.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. It is a proven, and it's
Man.
not just with singers. I mean, I've been working with so many entrepreneurs. I mean, I built the brand of a doctor. She's one of the top anesthesiologists, and she's wanting to go into she was sound healing and she,
Okay.
working with a lot of different things. And as she was talking to people and introducing herself as a sound healer, she never said, "I'm Doctor So and So." I was like, why aren't you owning that about yourself? Because that gives you so much more authority.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
So
people just not knowing how to literally own themselves and how to be able to tell what that is. You know what I mean? And do it confidently without, you don't, a rock star just is confident who they are, and just step out to the world, and it's not asking for forgiveness about anything. Right? It's just unabashed confidence.
Yeah.
And even we're always going to have something we're not confident about,
Right.
because if you're confident about everything, that means you're not growing. You know what I mean? Because if in order to continuously grow, you got to learn new skills, you got to learn new things, you got to push yourself to do better, to learn something new. And it's not like you're just going to be confident about that.
Yeah.
You got to learn. You gotta build the skill sets and learn something when you're learning something new. But what you can be confident in is who you are, because that will trump your lack of abilities in certain areas. 100%.
So true. No, I believe that because even and I lived through this as well, Jonathan. You know, we were talking before the show. You were saying about like, man, so how'd you get that name, Nate the Great? And I've heard it year after
By the
year.
way, I feel like I'm sitting with like the Prince of Wales, Nate the Great. I love it. Peterman. And with the last name Peterman, I mean that you're so white. I love it. Nate the Great Peterman, the Prince of Wales. I love it.
That's the first I heard that, brother. So I appreciate it. The next show I'll do, they'll probably be like, man, probably from Saudi Arabia or something, you know? Oh, man. But it's like, you know, I've heard this year after year ever since I've been like 18 years old about the Nate the Great thing. And I realized I didn't own it. I didn't start owning it until, let's say, the beginning of this year. For real. Because in my mind, I was like, man, you know, every time I introduce myself, now I say, hi, Nate the Great. Nice to meet you. I did it yesterday, bro. I did a podcast with Michael Lane. And then he had a meeting that came in after the podcast. It was some big time investor, I think. But, you know, he introduced me to him. And I greeted him. I was like, hi, sir, Nate the Great. Nice to meet you. And he looked me in the eye. And he's like, wow, that's powerful. I was like, yeah, that's who I am. And then, you know, with that quick exchange within it, because I wanted to be respectful of their time and their meeting that they were going to do. So I said, sir, it's been a pleasure to meet you. And I looked him right in the eye, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing with Jacqueline Schultz, Howie Mandel's daughter. There was a guy that was listening to our interview, you know, whenever we were doing it. And once we were finished, he was like, man, I really liked your interview. And he's like, what's your name? And I said, Nate the Great, sir. Nice to meet you. And he's like, well, shoot, if that's the case, my name's Rich the Bitch. Nice to meet you. I was dying, bro. But anyways, like,
you have to own whatever it is that you're doing, what you're saying, and it's very powerful. I would love to know, out of vulnerability, like, what is there anything that you like kind of struggle with? I mean, you're 22. You know what I mean? So whether that's mindset or like the confidence thing, is there anything that you're like, man, I have a hard time with this?
Like right now?
Yeah.
Right now I'd say it's definitely, and I've always struggled with this, like being in groups of people and then like talking and things, you know? Because me, I'm naturally introverted and I lived by that for so long. I still own up to my introvertedness.
Yeah.
Right? You know, you're a big listener, and typically I've always have been the one that is waited to get called on. But when I got called on, and even now, people know that I get called on because they realize, especially since, because before I didn't own it, but now that I own who I am, it's like, who is this guy? You know, but even to this day, like I'm still working on the group kind of conversations. Like if there was about, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 other people here, I'm normally gonna let everybody else speak because that's just how I've always been. But I'm slowly working on that.
Well, and see, and here's the thing: is that for some reason you think that you must speak,
Mm.
and that creates an insecurity in you. It's not necessary to always speak.
That's deep.
You know what I mean? You're an introvert. I'm an extreme. I'm like at the other level. Like I mean, I can talk in a whole group, whatever, and I
Yeah.
enjoy it. But the who I'm drawn to is the introvert.
Opposites.
Yeah, it's the opposite. So I can sit and talk, and then I can open you up, and you start sharing with me. Because
That's deep.
great listeners are usually incredible leaders, thought leaders, because they actually sit and listen to what everybody says in the room.
Literally.
They're picking up what it is, and then if they have something to say, it's like a powerful statement. And when you speak, people recognize it much more than somebody that's sitting there just, you know, because there's people who are just talking. So when you speak, they're like, oh, Nate the Great just said something powerful.
That's deep.
So, you know, when you just, it's like a lot of times we think, now I think it is great. You can learn skills. You can learn skills to speak out, to be a part of the conversation. But it is quite all right to be an introvert. It's not like because I know introverts who like, you know, they always have like resting bitch face, or they have, you know what I mean? Or they just seem like snobs, or they're rude because they've not learned a skill set you can still create a warm environment for people. You know what I mean? And so,
That's deep.
like my mom is an introvert.
Okay.
And she is my favorite person to take with me to events because she'll get to talking to people on a one-on-one level and create incredible relationships of people that I would never get to meet.
Wow.
And she's like, you got to meet this person. And my mom will always meet like incredible people. Like people are just drawn to her for some reason, you know. But she's an introvert.
Man.
But she's also very warm and sweet, gentle introvert. So just be confident in that. It's like there's power in that. People are going to be drawn to you that will never be drawn to me.
Wow. That's deep. And with you mentioning that, like, I mean, first off, I appreciate it. And then second, with you saying about that, I've been out here literally 2 months and 3 days to this day. And the people that I've met, I never would have expected. Because the people that I know out here already, they've lived out here for years. And saying that I've been in some of the rooms that I have been with these certain kinds of people, they're just like,
right.
Are you serious? And then people are just so shocked and captivated by it. I've only been out here 2 months. And with what you just said about the introverted thing, it makes sense. Because people do feel at ease and comfortable because they're not necessarily just like chattering all the time. Right? And even during this interview, I'm sure there's been times with you speaking where you thought I might kind of come in or talk. And I've had guests that have, you know, they've done that. They're extroverted. I just let them flow.
Right.
You know, because that's just me. That's I personally don't want to cut anybody off from their flow.
Right.
Because I feel that's kind of like being rude, and I don't want to interrupt their thought pattern.
Right.
You know.
But you're doing what you do great,
Yeah.
and that's listening. Oprah Winfrey, she listens.
Yeah.
She doesn't own the entire conversation.
Right.
And I'm working on becoming a better. I mean, with clients, I have to be a great listener, right? But
Oh my gosh.
it's a skill set that I had to work on. Where you may have to have a skill set to like walk into a room and be confident. And again, if your energy is confident, it fills a space. You never have to speak. You never have to say anything. And you think about the biggest artists in the world are all introverts. Some of the biggest influencers, entrepreneurs, complete introverts.
Yeah.
And people want to meet them. People like, you know what I mean? Then it's like, oh my God, I got to meet Nate the Great. Me, they're like, oh yeah, Jonathan, I've known him forever. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm friends with everybody, you know? And so it takes the you know,
That's so funny.
that golden moment away from people, you know? Because it's like, it's a more rarity to be able to have a conversation with somebody like that. So my whole point is, and even talking about that, is reframing your thinking about your talents. Reframe your thinking about your abilities and your gifts. And because all we can think about, we're so close to the situation that we're emotionally involved, and we can't see the greatness in that. Yeah. Right?
It's true.
And so you just have to just challenge yourself to reframe, and the listeners who are listening, it's like reframe your thinking about your talent and your gift and how you show up in a space, and realize that it's quite all right. Now, I'm gonna just say it is that if you've got if you've got a flaw, it's like a pair of shoes. Okay. And that shoe is like the most perfect shoes, the perfect color. It's like, oh my God, I gotta have that shoe. Yeah. And you go and you wear it in 15 minutes. It's rubbing a hole in the back of your foot, or it has something that, like some things you're like, okay, I'll just put a Band-Aid on that. I'm gonna keep wearing these shoes because I like them that much. But if it's got something that's rubbing your little pinky toe raw, and it's like poking, you'll never wear those shoes again. So some flaws are detrimental to what you need to do in your life, and you've got to fix those things. If you're perpetually late, or if you're a perpetual liar, it's like we're talking about some really bad qualities about a person. Or if you like financially just can't ever figure it out yourself, and you're always late on bills, your credit score is like a 300, like those are things that you've got to fix. Yeah. You know what I mean? Those things can be fixed. But if we're talking about somebody who's an introvert, that's not necessarily a flaw, but it can be a flaw if you're not talking to people and leading people correctly. You know what I mean? Like our greatest gifts can be our flaws. My personality is one of my greatest gifts of being able to talk to people. But it can also be my greatest flaw if I can't shut up and actually listen. Wow. Right?
That's powerful, yeah.
So just really changing your perspective and your mindset around, it's like the person over there, I'm going to say this is a blue microphone. Yeah. The other person's like, it's just a microphone. I'm like, no, it's a blue one because I can see it right there. Yeah. They move. They're like, oh, that's a blue microphone. So everything's about perspective. It's like you think about the full eclipse of the sun. Depending where you were in the world, it was a full eclipse, or it was a partial, or it was a small little bit of an eclipse, depending where you were on the earth. But it was a full eclipse. Right?
Yeah, I remember.
So if you change your perspective and how you see and you think about things, it will make it very powerful for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, perspective's everything as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're just focusing on your perspective, you're kind of being ignorant towards somebody else's. Because what you were just saying about some people are ignorant about that, and they let their ego get in the way. Yeah. And then that can hold them back in life a lot. Yeah. But that's a deep
it's like the perspective of having a flaw, and you're like, I don't want anybody to know that I'm weak in this area, so I'm going to try to control it. All it does is it makes you look like an asshole. It makes you unlikable. It literally makes people look at you like that you're not capable. However, if you're a great leader and you say, hey, I'm really weak in this area, who's really good at this, who could step up to this? You've done two things there. You've covered your butt and made people go, oh, wow, that's the kind of leader that we want, that's honest about it. And number two, you just allowed somebody else to step into their greatness and fulfill their purpose and for them to shine, rather than you sitting there trying to control the whole situation, right? So, and it's amazing, like, that was one of the things that when I went through this whole rebirthing in Bali, I was like, I'm going to be vulnerable and ask for people to help me, because I've never asked people to help me.
Mm.
And it is amazing what it has done. I ask for help. I'll post something on Facebook and I'll get so many people helping me. And it makes them feel so good that they were able to help me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it, how many times that a friend asks you for help and you're able to step up. And
It feels great.
It feels great.
Yeah. And you know, asking for help,
I hate it.
I feel like it's
hard.
kind of frowned upon.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to be, I need help. You know? I mean, I've been asking people to leave just reviews on the podcast. Why didn't I do that sooner? Because I didn't want to ask for help.
Yeah.
Because I felt it wasn't necessarily a good thing to do. I didn't want to be that guy that's like, oh, Nate's just asking for something. But then I transitioned it. I was like, hey, if you could leave me a 5-star review, I'd appreciate it. And then let me know if there's anything that you need support in.
Yeah, 100%.
So I viewed it
yeah,
from
so
that.
it's how can I help you? It's so funny. I just created my mom's retired. They live on the golf course in the front and the back is the lake, right? I mean, she lives a great life.
Yeah.
But she loves decorating and like creating beautiful spaces for every single Halloween, Christmas, fall, Easter, all the seasons, right?
Yeah.
And so she kind of fell into something. I was like, well, Mom, let me help you with your branding. Let me help you with your social media and building it. And literally in 2 weeks' time, she is so booked out. I was like, but I asked for help from people. I said, hey, of course it was for somebody else, so it was easier for me to ask. But I was just like, hey, I need for you to go do this for my mom. I need y'all to share this. I mean, when with 20 likes on Facebook, she had 1,400 people see her post because of all of the shares.
Jeez.
And she has filled up like all of these workshops. People are calling her, bringing her in to do workshops. She booked just an $800 job yesterday because of her postings and all that stuff. And she spent $250. I won't tell the client. I'm sure the client will never watch this, but she was able to make that kind of profit off of what she's doing. And it's just because and two, it's because we built the brand, her story, retired Grammy making beautiful spaces for families. You know what I mean? It's like,
wow, that's catchy too.
Yeah. So it's like, people have just like to her, you know what I mean? And she's killing. She's like, I got it. She's like, I can't take anymore. She goes, I can't even get my own decorations up. You know what I mean? So, but it's really amazing though when you ask for the help of what it does and what it has done for my mom. And
it's so smart too. I mean, because a lot of people don't have time to decorate, but they'd love to have decorations up. So having somebody like your mother just going into the
she just makes it look amazing and homey and everything. But so it's amazing for her, like just having the confidence of knowing who she is, how she was going to sell herself. I mean, this goes into your personal life. This goes into your business life. It's all the same.
Yeah.
It's branding yourself.
It's powerful.
Right?
It can connect you to, you wouldn't even think that it would connect you to some of the people that it does.
Yeah.
I'm a prime example. Having Nate the Great, I bought that username. Somebody else had it. Some kid that was inactive. And I paid some good money for that. Because I realized the power of a personal brand.
Yeah, 100%.
And then staying consistent 3 years with my page theme, having the structured bio. I mean, I don't want to get too marketing on you guys, but it's like, I realize that people look at that, and then I'm in the room with some of these people, and they're like, yeah, Nate, I watched one of your videos, and I like that. That was one of the things that built trust, because you and I both know, Jonathan, when people see a video of you speaking, and I'm sure you do this as well, personally myself, I want people to know me before they've even ever talked to me on the phone or even in person. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to position my brand like that. It's closed so many deals business-wise. It's built trust with influencers whenever they take a look at my stuff, because pictures are great. Anybody can post a photo. but it takes a lot of guts to record a video.
100%, yeah.
You know?
It's vulnerable.
Mm.
So yeah, it's really amazing how it all works together, and it doesn't matter. You know, one of the things that, like, I'm all about energy, and I mean coaching these performers and stuff is tapping into their power source, right? But if you take two tuning forks, you know, we everybody in this space talks about the law of attraction. You know, you pull in what you're attracted to. Yes and no. So you've got to be on the same vibrational level of what you're asking to come into your space.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So if you take a tuning fork and you go ding, and you hit this tuning fork ding, ding, and you stop this tuning fork will vibrate ding, ding. It'll be a lower vibration, but it still vibrates. Right.
Yeah. Huh.
So what you put out is what you get back in. So if your vibration is at a very confident level, that is what you're going to pull in. But, you know, there's people who are like, I'm going to claim this, this, and this, and this. Well, that might happen for you in many years. I do believe, I mean, I have an intention wall, right? I mean, I've got #1 bestseller up there. I want Ellen, Oprah, Soul Sunday, you know, like Lewis Howes, Mel Robbins, you know, Jay Shetty, people that those people that I want to vibrate with and do something with, right?
Right.
And my goal is to do that in the next 2 years.
Absolutely. It's possible.
100%.
You'll do it, yeah.
But I'm vibrating at that level already. You know what I mean? Like internally, I'm already there.
Yeah.
And of course, there's other things that got to happen in order for that stuff to take place. But you've got to vibrate. Your vibration level has to vibrate in a way for people. And it's in that confidence of what you do. It's the knowing of who you are, and that vibration will come back to you. When you're confident and you're strong, people feel confident and strong to come back with you.
It's true.
Right? You know what I mean? The right people. There's going to be people who cower to do that kind of stuff, but that's not who you're supposed to be with. You're attracting what's supposed to be in your life, you know? So, I mean, I could go into many different rabbit holes with all this stuff, but it's all about energy and how you project your energy, and that's what unshakable self-confidence is about.
That's powerful, and I'm a firm believer in that myself. Like, again, just with my time being out here, like my energy and vibration, I've gotten more spiritual, in tune with myself. I've become more, you know, with the energy and stuff, and just faith, because I've put myself in a very, some would say like, wow, 23 years old from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. How are you living in Los Angeles? You know, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, you go through a lot of stuff out here, but that's what grows you. Like, you have to go. I would rather work out with somebody that has scars than doesn't have scars, you know, because you want somebody that has the scars, the battle wounds, because you know they've been through it, compared to the person that, hey, you want to work out?
Well, you think about it. A coach, the best coaches are the ones who struggled to be good. Time and time again, the best coaches in the world aren't necessarily good at what they do.
That's deep. Yeah.
A lot of them. So, if some of the best voice coaches in the planet are not necessarily great singers because they struggled, and they're going to help people because they've already internalized it and they can explain it and how to do it, right? Because they may know how to do it. It just doesn't, like, I could coach probably a football team,
Right.
but I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
I'm just not. I'm not being an athlete is not my thing. I have jazz fingers, you know, like I'm super creative, right? You know what I mean? But I can see it.
Yeah.
And because of my struggles, then I could coach it. Don't ask me to coach it, but you know.
You'll be getting some.
Right.
Hey, John, are you trying to coach our football team, bro?
But I can see it. I understand it. I played, but I know where I struggled.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of that was fear. You know, but probably could have played. I mean, everybody in Texas played football. Basketball. Oh my God! Like basketball. Dear God, that just was a nightmare. Yeah, you had to play sports where I grew up in Texas. You know, in Dallas and out in a little small country town. It was pathetic. It was terrible. But anyway.
No, that's powerful, bro. Holy smokes. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, Jonathan. I know we've covered a lot today. I mean, I could keep going with you for real. So where I know you mentioned you have a book coming out in January.
Yep,
Okay.
Unleash Your Rockstar.
Unleash Your Rockstar. Is it gonna be? Where's it gonna be?
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's gonna be everything, and it's coming out with a full workbook because I believe it's about action.
I like that.
I mean, it's a short read for us who are busy, and I have a short attention span, and I just can't. I mean, I've got books sitting here on my desk that I want to watch. I want to read Brandon Burchard's book, but it's this big. The guy can talk for hours. You know what I mean? Like he can just write, and I'm like, man, are there cliff notes to this book? I'm like, I think I'm like looking up videos on YouTube, because I mean, and I want to read it. I want to learn some tools. I want to learn some things. But so for me, it's the book's a short read. It's all about the action. We don't need to be explained a million times on how something works. Explain it, then do the work. So, I want people to do the work. Yeah.
Yeah, and I came out with the book 3 months ago, and I made it like 87 pages. I didn't want to make it long, and just like yourself, I wanted to, provide action steps in it. So my longest chapter, I think, is like 9-10 pages, and my shortest one's like 3.
Yeah.
I just wanted to keep it simple, but yeah, I'll put the link to the book in the description whenever it comes out, and then for social media purposes, website.
Jonathan, like Joe Nathan.
I like that.
JonathanGeorge.com. Well, it's going to be that's my personal, but unleashyourrockstar.com. And I will, for your audience, I will have a special, a freebie that they can go on there, they can download and do a full, like, what their superpowers are, how to discover that, and do a little bit of work on that. It'll be quick, something fun, but really also very powerful. Because I really think that every single person needs to understand their superpower.
Absolutely. Especially if you're a millennial. Okay, you might know what it is.
Yep, yeah. What is your main watchers? Millennials? Gen Z?
Mainly millennial entrepreneurs, people in college, and then I have a lot of real estate agents that watch what I do as well.
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, very diverse.
Yeah, well, I mean, because you have a lot of different kinds of people that actually come onto your show, when you watch it. So, but I mean, I would assume that most be millennials and Gen Z who, the older Gen Z, being watching you, and so this is perfect to, because you guys are my heart and soul. So,
absolutely.
Because y'all are our future.
Yeah.
100% my future.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, we're depending on you, and I want to help you become the absolute best that you can be.
Yeah.
To reach a level of greatness. Don't settle for being mediocre. You go reach to be the best. And I do want to say this to you, that I always say everybody wants to be Christina Aguilera. Yeah. This, just a phenomenon at what they do. But it's quite all right to be Britney Spears. And I'm not putting down Britney Spears. And you can see over there, I've got a signed autograph, and I keep it on there, not because I'm a huge fan of Britney, but it's because it reminds me of what ordinary talent can do. She has impacted the world globally on a much greater level than Christina has ever done. She still can put out a song, be a #1 hit. She's worth more money. Not that I care about money, but it shows that I'm not putting Britney Spears down. I celebrate her 100% because most of my clients, or so many of my clients, are ordinary. They're ordinary. Yeah. But what they're doing is they're taking everything and bringing the best of them to become extraordinary. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't want people to get tapped in their mind, go, well, I'm looking at what Nate the Great's doing over here. I don't have that same ability. Yeah, you do. You just need your superpower to come to the forefront so that you can shine your brightest light.
Yeah.
Because nobody can do you like you. And we need you. You know what I mean? We need every single person stepping into their greatness to be powerful. In order for us, we've got to heal as a world. Our vibrational level has got to come up. and I'm depending on your generation to make that happen.
Wow. So moral of it all, own who you are. Okay, you're the greatest version. There's never going to be anybody else that's born like you. Okay, quit comparing yourself to others. Own who you are.
100%.
And you heard it from Jonathan himself. So I'm going to just leave it there. Again, check Jonathan out. I'm going to attach the links. Okay, and then same with this book. I'm going to put the, whenever it does come out, I'll put the links in here for you to capture his book.
And then you can also sign up for, on my website, you can actually put your information in there, and I will send, like, I think we may have a free download before it even comes out.
Ooh,
so
that's perfect.
Yeah. So go and sign up for that, and that'll be pretty powerful stuff.
Heck yeah.
I mean, this is stuff that literally I have been coaching superstars in the entertainment industry for 20 years, and it is all of my knowledge, my heart, my soul, and people pay me a lot of money doing what I do. So if you can get this for free, hey, why not?
Yeah, I mean, you have the experience too, you know. And then for the there's going to be a link for the free gift as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's unleashyourrockstar.com, and you can go there. And how I got that website, it was just ordained. Let me just say, that was what the title of my book was, and it was. I looked, I was like, I wonder if .com's available, and it was. I was like,
dang.
what? Yeah.
I'm surprised that wasn't taken.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe Unleash Your Rockstar was available. So, unleashyourrockstar.com, jonathangeorge.com if you, because I'm speaking full time. And if somebody, hey, I just want to put it out there that if you've got a stage and you need somebody to come and speak, I would love to come and deliver some powerful content to your audience and truly help them step into the greatest version of themselves. And so it's my heart and my soul, and so I want to help people. So yeah, jonathangeorge.com there, but everything else, join the movement of Unleash Your Rockstar, millennials and entrepreneurs and leaders leading us into greatness.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, guys, check them out. Okay, book them up. That's all I'm saying. Jonathan, as always, brother.
Thanks for listening to the Roots of